Hey friends, what's up? Derek here from B.O.M Socks with another day of BOM-Bites where we feast upon the words of Christ, one bite at a time. So as we finish up the conclusion of these chapters, in fact, we're finishing up the entire book of Alma, I want to focus on one thing, and I want to make sure I'm careful with this and fairly sensitive with this as well, because it's something that we all struggle with, and it's something that we all have to be careful with. Now, to set this up, Moroni is a hero. Captain Moroni, you remember Alma 48 verse 17, if all men were like him, the very foundations of hell would be shaken forever. This man shakes hell. He is awesome. He is a passionate leader. Now, one of the things, you go all the way back to Alma 38, you remember what Alma taught his son Shiblon about passion. He says, see that you bridle all your passions, that ye may be filled with love. Moroni is living in a time period of great volatility, of war, and of contentions. It is an intense time period to live. In fact, at the end of these chapters, Moroni dies at a very young age. I did the math. He's somewhere in his early 40s, probably even 43 or so. It's just a rough time period to live. One emotion that I see Moroni having quite a bit, my wife and I have talked about this, Moroni has a lot of anger. And honestly, I don't blame him one bit. Like I said, the time period that they're living in, I don't want to judge these guys wrongly. It's a rough time period. Moroni is a hero, but he's also a human with human frailties, and I think his anger got the best of him a few times. We just talked the last couple days about his letter to Pehorin. Moroni was angry with the government. And maybe Pehorin knew Moroni's passionate heart. He knew these guys were friends. They were beloved brothers, like it said. And maybe when Pehorin got Moroni's letter, he's like, oh, there's Moroni going off again. Moroni is so passionate and he's so good. Maybe that's why Pehorin was like, Moroni, I love the goodness and greatness of your heart. I also love how Pehorin responds with the phrase, I am not angry. You know, you rewind back to Alma 54 and 55, which is part of our study this week. You have some passionate interchanges between two leaders. You got Moroni and then Amaron, or Amoron, however you want to say that. For this, we'll just call him Amaron. But these guys exchange pleasantries back and forth, and really it's just two leaders getting feisty with one another and calling each other out. And they're just trading jabs back and forth. In fact, there's a battle strategy here that has been employed many times in the Book of Mormon, and it seems to work every time. Get the Lamanite guards drunk and you'll be able to get a lot done. But again, just reminding you, this is an intense, frustrating, contentious time period to live. You look at chapter 54, verse 13. Here's Moroni. Behold, I am in my anger and also my people. That is not necessarily a great place to be in. Now, anger in and of itself is just an emotion. Like all of the human emotions out there, you have done nothing wrong if that emotion comes to you. We are here, I believe, to experience all of the emotions. I believe we are also here to figure out how to navigate those emotions. If you feel anger, you have done nothing wrong. But if it's left unchecked, it can be deadly. In fact, let me show you another example of that. With a hero in these chapters, you got this guy right here, Teancum. And in fact, we've got a sock with Teancum on it, with all kinds of little guys with javelins on them. People love him. Teancum is the gold medalist in the javelin as he goes in back in chapter 51, very methodically, very calculated and very planned, goes in last day of the year. He goes into Amalekai's tent, puts a javelin right into his heart, and he stands ready the next day, which is a new year, and he's like, what now? We got your king. It seems to be very well planned out, done well, and very clean. Now you fast forward where you've got Amalekai's brother Amaron, who is causing a lot of grief to the Nephites again. And Teancum, I think, has just had it. So you've got a very similar situation in chapter 51. However, there is one difference that I noticed right here. Verse 35, and thus they did encamp for the night, for behold, the Nephites and Lamanites were weary because of the greatness of their march. Therefore, they did not resolve upon any stratagem in the nighttime. By the way, as a side note, I had someone share that with me one time as good marriage advice. When you both are tired, you are not going to resolve on any stratagems in the nighttime. It's just not going to happen. You know, sometimes that idea of never go to bed angry, sometimes it might be just fine. As you get a chance to sleep on it, then you wake up the next morning and you can think a little bit more clearly. Anyway, just a little side note there. Now in this particular part, save it where Teancum, for he was exceedingly angry with Amaron, insomuch that he considered that Amaron and Amaleki his brother had been the cause of this great and lasting war between them and the Lamanites, which had been the cause of so much war and bloodshed and so much famine. And you know what? He was right. He's exactly right with that. These guys had caused a lot of trouble. Verse 36, and it came to pass that Teancum in his anger did go forth into the camp of the Lamanites, did let himself down over the walls of the city. Again, this is very similar to chapter 51. And he went forth with a cord from place to place, just swinging around. I don't know how that looked, but it was cool. Insomuch that he did find the king and did cast a javelin at him, which did pierce him near the heart. But behold, the king did awaken his servants before he died, insomuch that they did pursue Teancum and slew him. Did he kill the king? Yes. But to me, this seems a little bit more sloppy than what took place back in chapter 51. Chapter 51 was a little bit more calculated and well done and planned out. This one, he just kind of goes in there, he casts a javelin, hits him near the heart, and perhaps it was because he was angry as he was doing this. You know, I don't know many people who do anger very well. In fact, I think we all struggle with it. When you're running with emotions, particularly anger, things do not always turn out well, and we get messy and we get sloppy. Moroni got that way with Pehorin. It was kind of a messy little rebuke right there. Granted, you take it on its own like we did. Yep, it's good motivating talk. He didn't know fully what was going on there. His anger got the best of him, and it was a messy interaction with Pehorin. And in this situation, maybe the anger of Teancum got the best of him as well. Now, I want to make this very clear. I do not want to throw Moroni or Teancum under the bus. These guys are men of liberty. You look at verse number 37. This is Mormon's wonderful tribute to Teancum. It came to pass that when Lehi and Moroni knew that Teancum was dead, they were exceedingly sorrowful. For behold, he had been a man who had fought valiantly for his country, yea, a true friend to liberty, and he had suffered very many exceedingly sore afflictions. There's a lot of adjectives there. Very many exceedingly. But behold, he was dead and had gone the way of all the earth. A tragic end to a wonderful hero. Now, there was a conference talk many years ago from Lynn G. Robbins, which I think applies very well here. It was called Agency and Anger. Understanding the connection between agency and anger is the first step in eliminating it from our lives. And again, like I said, that anger comes in. You've done nothing wrong, but figuring out how you're going to handle it, that's where the power comes. We can choose not to become angry, and we can make that choice today, right now. I will never become angry again. Ponder this resolution. And I want to be careful with how I say that because it's something that comes so naturally to all of us. You see two of the finest men in the Book of Mormon, what happens as their anger overtakes them. And these men are heroes, but as with all humans, I think we can learn some things about human interaction from these individuals and how to deal better with these emotions and these character flaws that come our way. I am so grateful for the scriptures. It's kind of like what Moroni says later on. Look, we write these things out, and please don't judge us or condemn us. And please understand that is not what I am doing here. But Moroni says, look, will you just learn to be more wise than we have been? Because really, I think there's some great things that are taught here with that. I love the war chapters. I love what is taught here. I have loved the book of Alma. It is one of the finest books out there and so much to learn about coming closer to Jesus Christ through these wonderful principles. Grateful for them, and I know that they are true. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sharing these messages. We're always so grateful that you do that. If you like what you see, click the like button. You got to go check out our amazingly comfortable gospel-themed socks at BOM-Socks.com. Godspeed. See you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.